as many braiders who are working in Mississippi, even though Louisiana is a larger population than Mississippi, and even though there are more African Americans in Louisiana than in Mississippi. By having freedom to work, Mississippi is getting it right, and that allows for the braiders in Mississippi, but not in Louisiana, to get credit, to open salons, to educate and attract employees, and perhaps as you face your budget issues, to be reminded to get them to pay taxes. It gives credibility and legitimacy, which is happening in Mississippi, is happening in 21 other states, and I would encourage the state of Louisiana to stop this barrier to entry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. McGrath. Representative Cox, you have a question, sir. Hang on one second.
Yeah, will there be what type of licensing process will there be? Will there be a license at all?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Cox, the answer is no. This would be as it is in 20 other states. The answer is zero. That this procedure is so safe that those states do not have any requirements at all.
Yes, it is true.
Thank you, Representative Cox. Okay. Ms. Morris, if you'd please identify yourself for the committee.
Carrie Morris, attorney for the Louisiana State Board of Cosmetology.
Yes, ma'am.
None of our accredited schools can really pick up the program, and they haven't been able to have enough students in the program to keep the course alive. But with respect to the bill is not simply braiding. It would allow people to use curling irons, wash hair, cut hair. And so the definition of braiding is not limited to braiding, as was represented just using fingers. These people would be able to use combs and things that need to be sanitized. And so we had offered to adopt the Mississippi model where they would register with the state and they would have to complete some sanitation course, but they would not be required to have any formal education on the skill of braiding or weaving or locking. And so this morning I heard that, some support for the Mississippi scheme, so I'm not really sure why that wouldn't work in Louisiana, other than, it would give the board knowledge of where the facilities are, who's working in the facilities. They would have to certify annually that they have the sanitation training, and they would be subject to inspection. I know that a lot of the rules seem like common sense, but I think we had a discussion this morning at the board meeting about our licensees not changing Barbasol as often as they should, from a licensee that came to the board to give some information. But if there's nobody to regulate these industries, even some of the common sense rules may not be followed. So we had offered to work with the proponents to suggest these amendments, but it was my understanding that they would not accept what the board's proposal was. I have two members of the board here, Mr. James Williams and Ms. Mella Brown.
Very good.
And more specifically address the craft.
Very good. We do have a question though for you, Ms. Morris. Representative Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, ma'am. Okay. In the cosmetology field, y'all are usually up on a lot of the traits and what's new and everything. Why is it taking y'all 12 years to decide that we need to change these rules?
We, first of all, haven't had any complaints about it. This group did not approach us about it. We have a lot of the people that, we only have 46 registered. We know that we don't have a whole lot of people that actually registered under it. And then we have been receiving calls saying that there are no more classes available. So we were looking at opening up the grandfather provision to allow education in other states to suffice to meet that requirement. The board did lower the requirement. It was originally 1,000 hours and they lowered it to 500 hours. They've done some things over the years, but like I said, it's a new board and they started looking at the issue from the perspective that the board staff had received calls from people who were interested and there were no programs. So they were looking at how to do that. After I met with Representative Emerson, I learned that Mississippi had, a lot of the changes in the other states are very recent, as you heard, even up to last week. We did look at the Mississippi model, and a lot of our licensees go back and forth between Mississippi and are licensed in both states. And we found it to be something that would work and could be fit within our scheme. We have the ability, the legislature gave the board the ability to implement special permits by rules. We could put this special permit in by the legislature and set the requirements there, and then it would not have to go through the rule process, which would be more expeditious at this point because that would take several more months.
And also on washing hair, you know, I still wash mine with Irish Spring, but anyway, you have 500 hours of training to wash hair.
The 500 hours was more that it included the sanitation, it included the technique of locking, braiding, weaving. It was a technique course. All of the cosmetology courses are taught from textbook materials and also hands-on by actually doing the craft. And under our current licensing scheme...
I'm not talking about braiding. I'm talking about, you said that washing hair would come under this. So you
No, their bill defines braiding as including washing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pugh. Very good. Mr. McGrath, did it?
Yes, one simple
Yes.
point, Mr. Chairman. The representative from the Cosmetology Board actually has made the most persuasive admission against interest in saying that there have been no complaints. Her admission is no different from what we have found. We have surveyed 9 other states, a total of 10 states over 70 years. Over 7 years, in other words, 70 data points, and there have been only 129 complaints, but only 4 dealt with health and safety. The vast majority of complaints about hair braiders come from licensees who don't like the competition. Only 4 over 7 years in 10 states dealt with health and safety, and none was verified by a state licensing board. So I return to the main theme of Representative Emerson's legislation, that this is safe. Concerns about sanitation are overblown, and they are solved by simply washing hands and taking other common steps. And the research supports that in 10 states there is not a problem. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Your Representative Anders.
You got me a little confused here, and I have 2 bridges, one at Vicksburg and one at Natchez, Mississippi, so economic growth is most definitely affected by me. What is Mississippi law?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Anders, what Mississippi does is it allows braiders to work freely. And it has one requirement, that the board mails them a 1-page piece of paper that has 8 questions on it, true and false. And the people and the 1,240 braiders in Mississippi have circled 8 times true, and then they've looked at the bottom of the page to see if their questions were correctly answered. And then Mississippi requires them to open the drawer in their salon and put that piece of paper in the drawer.
So it's never sent back to the state of Mississippi?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Representative Anders, yes, it is never sent back. It is a bureaucratic process that is a waste of time and resources.
I got you. I'm just trying to, we're talking about Mississippi law. I don't believe they have one there as far as I can follow, but I'm in favor of moving forward.
Thank you, Representative Anders. Please let me go ahead and just read the rest of these. These are folks that are present and not wishing to speak into the record. This is Robert Burns with Americans for Prosperity. Nelda Durrell is here. Jerry Teasley is here with Americans for Prosperity. Bally Ging, thank you, is here. Katrina Tubla Gay, thank you, ma'am. Mamie Adri, thank you. Mark Yay, Jay, thank you. Ross White, Americans for Prosperity. Paige Halper, Americans for Prosperity. John Kay, American Prosperity. Nicole Cassie is here representing herself. Yassine Drup, herself. Handu K. It's all one word. Hadindiayc.
Heidi.
Thank you. Yusufa Gee. Thank you. Lucille Harris. Joyce LaCour. Tamiko Como. I hope I got that. It's Tammy Joe, isn't it? I'm sorry. It's Tammy Joe Como. Thank you, Tammy Joe. James Lee with American for Prosperity. James Kirk is here representing himself. Nelda Durrell is here representing the Iberia Cosmetology Institute. Bettina Porter is here representing herself. And last but not least is Asinkinde. Yes, thank you. Here, thank you very much. Ma'am, if you would please introduce yourself to the committee.
Okay, good afternoon, Chairman and
Good
members
afternoon.
of the committee. My name is Jasmine Capers, and I'm speaking in support of the House Bill 468. I was born and raised and currently reside in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm a home-based braider and have been braiding since middle school, so that's over 20 years now. Ooh, told my age. Okay, I learned to braid from my aunt in elementary school. I braid now, not only to support my children, but as an expression. I'm a creative person, so, you know, that's kind of my outlet, so I get to make money and you know, just express myself. I desire to make a living to support my family, legally. If the laws are changed, I would be able to open my own shop. Doing so would not only secure my family's future, but create more opportunities for others, as I would have an avenue to teach others my skill. I did not complete cosmetology school, but I did attend, and I did run into the issue of my purpose for going was to have the license to be able to braid. There were some other issues that came up, but I was never taught to braid. In fact, I was teaching other people at the school to braid. And I mean, as a student, you have issues with it because the teachers want people to go by the curriculum, but I wasn't the only student there who they came to learn to braid, and that was not taught. I just want for everybody to understand that we're not trying to circumvent anything. We just want to make a living for our families legally. And honestly, that at the end of the day, like Mr. Lee said, that's a money game. You know, if we can legally do this, that increases the tax base. At the end of the day, that's what most people, it's money. So why not put yourself in a position to add more money to the tax base? I appreciate being given this opportunity to speak for those who are not able to, and I pray that you all have a great day.
Thank you, ma'am, very much.
Thank you, Chairman, members. It's been a fun little time here. Just to close, again, this is something that we want to break down the barrier to entry on this. We want to make sure we can put people to work, create jobs, so they can open up businesses. If they open up a business, obviously they'll be registered with the Secretary of State, so you'll know they're a registered business at that point. This is a safe process, a safe procedure, and we just ask for your favorable passage. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. The chair would entertain a motion from the committee. Very good. Representative Pugh makes a motion that we move House Bill 468 favorably. Is there any objection to that motion? Hearing none, House Bill 468 moves favorably. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.